Welcome to all of you gathered here live in the press club. It looks like a full house. Give it up for yourselves. I think that's the first time in 5 years. So glad you're all here. I'm especially pleased if you're here with us for the first time today to learn about Samaritan Ministry. Our mission in the metaphor of the Good Samaritan parable is to empower and equip those who are stuck in life's ditch and need not a patronizing hand out, but an empowering hand up. The ditch may be deep, the result of a bad break, a bad choice, bad public policy, systemic racism, or all of the above. But when a participant comes in to see us, a prospective Next Step program participant, there's only 3 questions that we really ask. 1, if you want a better life, what do you think that looks like? Describe that for us. 2, are you ready to change and participate in that change by accepting the required coaching to achieve your goal? And finally, will you take the necessary steps, action steps, next steps to meet that goal, meet your goal? If you commit, if your answer is yes to all those challenging questions, then Next Step staff will give you all the coaching, all the expertise, all the diligent follow-up, the toughest part, and all the technical support you need for as long as you need it, just because you said yes. Now, let's be real. Please raise your hand if you've ever been stuck in life's proverbial ditch. This is the first test, everybody. Because to be human is to be stuck, right? Amen? And to be stuck is to be human. It's part of the human condition. So what our participants receive in Next Step is what we all need to receive. We call it rigorous compassion. And it's 2 things. Tangible support and encouragement on the one hand, and interpersonal challenge and accountability on the other. Now that sounds kind of fancy, right? But think about it. It's what your best friend, your spouse, your pastor, perhaps your colleague says that you would rather not hear. In biblical terms, it's the truth in love. Amen? Does this sound recognizable? I mean, if all Martha ever said to me were sweet nothings, if you know Martha, she wouldn't do that. But I think there's something wrong with this relationship, right? There's something missing. I'm getting all the good stuff. Samaritan Ministry offers that gift to folks who typically have no trustworthy person in their life to offer it. So just imagine it. They have no one to offer that until they come through our doors. Rigorous compassion. The support and the encouragement we get, the challenge and the accountability is hard, and we take it for granted, but we don't. With nonprofit partner Bite Back and others, we empower and equip an increasing number of participants for an increasingly complex world. Almost 900 Next Step participants in 2023, 200 more than 2022. We're slowly, precipitously, exponentially increasing that number in 2024 and beyond, post-pandemic. And that number includes returning citizens, residents without a permanent home, the unemployed and underemployed, workers over 50, and young adults lacking soft skills or a life plan of any kind. And with your support, we're also equipping folks. We're putting our money where our mouth is, equipping Next Step participants with laptops once they accomplish their first goal through our loan-to-own initiative. We do that so that they can be equipped like everyone else. Work from home, not just on a device in one of our offices, though that's still an option. We can do this only with generous financial giving that exceeds a simple one-off charitable contribution. Sustained giving that responds to and actually changes the game for Next Step participants. That's the idea. If it doesn't change the game, honestly, it's a waste of time. Further, we're proud of our heavy historic and present reliance on volunteers to accomplish our mission, because it reflects a commitment to community collaboration. So when I speak of empowerment, of our work being all about empowerment, I also speak of how we cultivate change in ourselves and in our community at large, not just for individual Next Step participants. Our partner council, it's the council of all the partner churches, as you see in the program booklet, is a uniquely positioned faith-based community of communities that includes several hundred volunteers, as well as over 60 partner churches and mission providers. That's impressive. We're making a difference, and we're doing God's work. So what does our immediate future hold in this hard-to-hire post-pandemic world? Where are we going? First, the last few years have been a super steep climb to find top people to fill pivotal positions. We're not alone as a nonprofit in that regard since the pandemic began, but that's cold comfort. But empowered by earlier recommendations from our organic, broad-based racial equity and justice roundtable, we are now more calibrated about salary equity and at the same time rigorous in our recruiting process. So after a painstaking 2+ years, I'm proud to announce that we're finally fully staffed with what is arguably the most powerful staff team I have seen in my 12 years here. Thank you. So with that, please welcome to Samaritan Ministry of Greater Washington our two newest hires. You know, they're so new that they're donating their time here today because they haven't started yet. So please welcome to Samaritan Ministry of Greater Washington Program Director Julio Da Silva. Stand up, Julio. And Development Director Jennifer Longmire Wright. I told them to wave, but man, they're getting applause. Pretty good, guys, on your first day. Second, I'm proud to report that the joint Strive employment readiness training with IT trainer Biteback, which I announced a year ago in this room, took a giant step forward when this year we scaled up the 2023 pilot of the joint training with a schedule that has 7 joint IT Strive employment trainings for 2024, thanks to our newly integrated Strive Biteback training team. So I want the partners from Biteback. Where are you? Oh, you're up here. I can't see with the lights. Stand up if you can. Our partners from Biteback are in the balcony. And the Samaritan Strive team, wave or stand, whatever works best. Cheryl Mercer, the Strive trainer. Diane Quinn, our employment specialist, Doris McRoy, the Strive team caseworker, and all our Next Step caseworkers and instructors and trainers, wave wherever you are, okay? Because they're all part of the Strive team. It's all Next Step, and Next Step is part of Strive. Casework is central to it all. And there's more. One of last year's students in that 2023 cohort is now one of this year's instructors. Shortly, you'll hear Sam Tanner speak of how, as a single parent of Charlotte, his autistic preschooler, who's sitting right here, he found himself without a home, living in his car, but also of how his initiative, resilience, and determination, plus our resources and coaching, not only got him trained, but got him hired by BitePack within a couple months of finishing the training. So Sam, of course, is here. Sam, why don't you give a wave along with Sam's parents, Joyce and John. Joyce and John, would you wave? They're all here in the front table with Charlotte. So be sure you meet Charlotte before you go. Yeah. But speaking right after me, you'll hear Isaiah Poole, a volunteer who will bear witness to how his own lived experience and training uniquely qualifies him to serve as a tutor for pre-literate adults in Congress Heights. We have a site in Congress Heights, and how this has changed him. Finally, today, you'll hear from Suzanne Hazard, someone with an extensive financial resume, but an even greater passion for bringing her sense of call to our empowerment work among those living in or on the edge of poverty. A quote that's been on my office door since our earliest days, and if you've been to many other earlier breakfasts, hopefully you have this memorized. If you have come here to help me, you are wasting your time. But if you have come because your liberation is bound up in mine, then let us work together. Almost 4 decades later, that wisdom still speaks to who we are and the change work that we're all about, inviting partnership on all levels. Samaritan Ministry, as many of you know, isn't just any place. We are a pioneer faith-based nonprofit in our nation's capital. None of this work comes easy. But I know that our cause is just and our recipe is right. Compassionate coaching, proven training, access to opportunity equals the hand up that program participants urgently need and need now. The results are inspiring, but I'm more inspired by our recipe, because it reminds me that our liberation is found in welcoming the stranger, who is really our proverbial neighbor in disguise, temporarily stuck in life's ditch. So now, more than ever, I humbly ask you to stretch to consider a sustainable commitment of your time, talent, and treasure for 2024. Now, so that we can turn around and provide the life-changing, sustainable services we are finally fully equipped to provide, and change the present and shape the future for so many whom we serve. So thank you for listening. Thank you for being the gifts that you are, but especially to our neighbor stuck in life's ditch, who is really you and me. Thank you.